Good day to all the viewers and listeners. I am Stacey Carmichael, and today I'm joined by Minister of Housing and Water, the Honorable Collin Croal. Minister, it's a pleasure having you on the program. Now, we will be discussing today a program, Dream Realize Initiative, that will be hosted on Friday and Saturday. Minister Croal, could you provide us with some information on the initiative?
Good afternoon, Stacey, and thank you for hosting me. The initiative over the next 2 days, that is on Friday the 16th and Saturday the 17th, is we've titled it Dream Realized. But the major role of that activity is for the distribution of a number of titles and transports that we've completed the process for. And so that will be commencing tomorrow. And in addition to the distribution of those titles and transports, we will also have the Central Housing and Planning Authority, the various departments available for members of the public if they would so like to engage our ministry and CHPA. We also use the opportunity to invite the banks, and there are a number of banks that will be there, and we will go into them shortly. Insurance companies, and I've also been we've also have on board the internet companies. So the activity will start tomorrow. At 10 hours, we will commence the distribution of those titles and the transports, for which we've invited His Excellency President Irfan Ali, and he's accepted to be there for the opening. And maybe we probably should first start with the significance of this document. While it may seem as a simple activity, but for someone who's completed the payment of their processing fees and someone who's receiving a title or their transport, it means a lot. It signals complete ownership. It signals that they now can say that, and I'll use the theme that we have, Dream Realize, because for many persons who do not have their own home or even their land, it is their dream to have that opportunity to first acquire a land, then construct, and of course other things flow to start that family, to have somewhere that they can call their homestead, and somewhere that they can do many activities. And so that simple activity, that simple significance of giving a document means a lot to now title holders and transport holders. And so it's that dream. And so for anyone, because you know the demand we have in the system. So the numbers that we're giving out tomorrow, those documents, it's as a result of a number of titles and transports that we've completed the process. And we're using that opportunity to distribute those over the next 2 days, but commencing in the morning. The activity goes until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're having it for 2 days, and so on Saturday it will commence at 9 hours. There are a number of things, if you give me an opportunity, we would like to address in terms of COVID-19 because it's a concern of many. Because of when we're holding this activity, and that's why we chose the National Stadium, because the parking lot, it allows us that space so that we can practice the social distancing. A number of persons have called inquiring, why we're holding this activity now in light of the pandemic. Now, I want to assure members of the public that all mechanisms have been put in place to ensure the safety of persons who may be, be a beneficiary or those for whom coming to acquire a service. Now, when you enter the National Stadium, the Ministry of Health team will be there to ensure that persons are sanitized. And then when you move from that tent, you will be entering another area, which depending on what you're going for or your need, they will then give you a chit that directs you to the relevant tent that you will need to visit. And that is important to ensure that we have the crowd control. In the main tent, the person that will be allowed in will all be seated, and the chairs will all be arranged in the relevant distance to adhere to the social distancing. Of course, wearing of masks will be compulsory. And even before you enter the tent area, we have two automated systems that will provide, you will have another spraying on all individuals entering the facility. So along the way, along every step, it is to ensure that we have some sort of crowd control. But I want to say that in light of this, the holding of this activity, is that it is not for allocation of house lots. Many persons have called seeking that clarity, and I think some persons have been peddling that information. The Central Housing and Planning Authority, because we're having the title distribution, we use the opportunity to have Central Housing and Planning Authority, the various departments there, so that for persons who may not want to come to the ministry or who have not gotten the opportunity to, they're living on the East Bank or nearby, can always come there to make an application. We'll allow the facility to, you can make an application. You will have your interview conducted. So like if you're coming to at the ministry to have such service, we will be having that over the next 2 days. But at the same time, I want to caution persons that while we're facilitating that over the next 2 days, is that the ministry's service, the access to the ministry and our regional housing offices, those services continue. So you have an opportunity, obviously, to use our regular ministry time. So why I'm emphasizing this point is because for persons who have received a letter, an acknowledgement letter, I want to assure them that you are in the ministry's database. So we have your information. There is no need for you to come to the facility to seek a clarity on your time period for an allocation, because we will not be dealing with we will not be allocating any house lots there at the Providence Stadium. So what it allows is for new applicants or even for persons who may have genuine issues that you want us to address. I will be there throughout the two days, and the Honourable Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodriguez, will also be there. So, because I know for some persons also want to seek some clarity from the ministers. So we'll be there throughout both days. So that is in essence of what the activity is about. But COVID, it did concern us, and the Ministry of Health has been along in terms of when we were planning the activity. Even now, as this afternoon, we have a final site inspection. They will be there to ensure that we have everything be put in place for the strict COVID guidelines. We will also have masks available for distribution to assist those persons that probably need before they enter the facility. So they will have some crowd control even before you enter the main gate. Sure. And so that is from the Central Housing and Planning Authority, and we will also allow, if there are persons who want to complete payments on their processing fee. So we'll be offering the complete service, as in when you go to Central Housing and Planning Authority. For the banks, a number of banks have confirmed their participation. We have GBTI, New Building Society, Republic Bank, Bank of Baroda. For insurance companies, Nalico and GTM, they've confirmed their participation. E-Networks has indicated that they will be there too. So if you want to inquire on internet services for your own personal use. So in all, what we've sought to do is maximize, since we were having the activity, because the main focus is for the title distribution, title and transport distribution for a number of persons. And these were for prior years. For one reason or the other, they did not complete their transaction, and they've now completed that. So we have a number, a few hundred in the system that we want to distribute. We don't want to keep them. We want for the beneficiaries to have them on their own, so that they can go on to do other things with it, including mortgage and access to loan and that kind of thing. So it's a proud moment for many persons who will be receiving such titles.
And thank you very much, Minister. That was a lot of information, and of course, we welcome the clarity. Also, before we come to the end of the program, do you have a figure in mind of how many persons you'll be catering for tomorrow in terms of the titling, the titles that you'll be giving out?
For the distribution, we're somewhere under 500. We're expecting to distribute over the course of the day, because what we've done too is for the persons to collect we have staggered, so to ensure again, so to space them out, and so that is why we're having that activity over the 2 days. There are some persons too. We've published a number of names. In fact, there's over 300 in the newspapers, for which we've asked for them to make contact. If any one of them, if any relative or any friend is aware of such persons, you can inform them that they can make contact with us, because those persons, their titles too are available, and they can come down to the facility at the Guyana National Stadium to receive their title.
Thank you very much, Minister. Anything else you would like to add as it relates to the program before we wrap up the initiative? Sorry.
Yes, sure. Yes. So our engagement on Friday and Saturday is part of us as a program of reaching out. We have conducted a number of outreaches. In fact, on Monday, the Essential Housing and Planning Authority was in Region 2 and at Charity, Anna Regina, and Soddy, and they received a few hundred persons who came in to seek clarity. A number of the information received, well, they weren't completing their transaction, but they received the application form if they wanted. So what I found, because early in this week, I was in the Annandale area, and what I found, sometimes persons, when they're coming, there are some simple issues that that can easily be guided and that can be resolved. And so it is our way of reaching out, and we will be moving across the country in due time. Of course, we have regions 5 and 6 next, because to provide, sometimes many persons are not sure why you're not reaching out. So it is allowing us to engage them and keep the members of the public updated as to what is happening, because in the housing sector, and we have a lot of things that will be happening, big things I want to say that will be happening for the people of Guyana. And I understand the impatience, but we are at the preparation stage, and so for the level of investment that will be placed into this industry, the sector, the housing sector, within a year, we will start seeing the fruit of such investment, and even at a basic level of infrastructure work for the preparation of a number of new housing areas. Then we also have some existing schemes for which we're doing further infrastructure work that will allow persons to access their area and commence construction for their own homes. The construction sector industry will see such a boom and have a turnover for economy, generating employment, and even at the small level, even whether it's the carpenters, the laborers, the truck drivers, sandpit owners, everyone will be able to benefit. And the spin-off is even much more. Once you start construction of your home, it's not only for those doing the construction, but then you have to put furniture in your house. So there's a spin-off too for the furniture industry. Of course, the hardware stores, they're excited by the plans of construction of homes and start the wheel engaging that level of the growth for our productive sector across the country.
Okay, then. Well, thank you so much, Minister, for bringing that clarity to the public, and thank you also for joining me on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, and thank you very much to all our listeners and viewers. I'm Stacey Carmichael, and I was joined by Minister of Housing and Water, the Honorable Collin Croal. Goodbye for now.